The world of cinema has been graced with many luminaries who have left indelible marks on the hearts and minds of audiences. Among these, the intriguing and somewhat enigmatic figure of Lee Van Cleef stands out, particularly in the genre of spaghetti westerns. With a face carved out of the rugged terrains he often roamed on screen, a piercing gaze that could unsettle the stoutest hearts, and a voice that echoed like a chilling wind across the prairies, Van Cleef epitomized the quintessential Western antagonist. Yet, beneath the villainous veneer, there was a complexity to his characters that hinted at deeper stories waiting to be told. This narrative seeks to unravel the layers of Lee Van Cleef's life, from his modest beginnings to his pinnacle in Hollywood, and the legacy he left behind after his untimely demise on December 16, 1989. Born on January 9, 1925, in Somerville, New Jersey, Lee Van Cleef's origins were as unassuming as any classic Western's setting. His parents, Marion Lavinia Van Fleet and Clarence Lee Van Cleef, were ordinary people, grappling with the economic hardships of the 1930s during the Great Depression. This period was marked by widespread poverty and uncertainty, which shaped the early years of many of his generation. In these formative years, Lee exhibited a certain rugged charm, an unspoken promise of the iconic persona he would later embody on screen. Growing up in Somerville, Lee developed a fascination for acting. This wasn't an obsession, but a mild intrigue stirred by the occasional movie he would see, which presented a reality starkly different from his own, a world of glamour and adventure. His acting debut didn't occur on the grand stages of Hollywood, but rather on the modest platforms of his high school auditorium. It was here that Lee first experienced the joy of performance, a joy that would come to shape his destiny. Lee's path took an unexpected turn when he enlisted in the United States Navy during World War II. His service was not just a duty, it was a crucible that forged his character. Assigned initially to a submarine chaser and later to a minesweeper, Lee's roles as sonar operator and lookout honed his senses, perhaps contributing to the intense presence he would later bring to his film roles. His military experience exposed him to diverse cultures and realities, enriching his worldview and deepening the persona he would bring to his acting career. After his discharge in 1946, Lee's journey into the entertainment world began. He ventured into the realm of theater, seeking to perfect his craft. He studied at the Actors Studio in New York, where he refined his skills and laid the groundwork for a promising career. His time at the studio was a period of artistic growth, planting the seeds of future success as he absorbed the nuances of dramatic art that would eventually propel him into the limelight. Lee's break into the world of professional acting came with small roles in theater and an eventual move to television. His early TV roles were minor but crucial for his development, allowing him to experiment with different characters and refine his performances. It was his portrayal of antagonists in westerns that emerged as a defining feature of his career, earning him recognition as a consummate character actor capable of bringing depth and complexity to villainous roles. One of Lee Van Cleef's landmark roles came in the iconic film High Noon, 1952. Though not yet a leading man, his role as Jack Colby, one of the menacing antagonists, left a lasting impression. This performance foreshadowed the depth and intensity he would bring to his later roles, setting the stage for his breakout moments. Lee Van Cleef's career trajectory took a significant turn with his participation in A Few Dollars More, 1965, alongside Clint Eastwood. Directed by Sergio Leone, this film catapulted Van Cleef into international fame and cemented his status as a Western icon. His portrayal of Colonel Douglas Mortimer was a masterclass in subtlety and depth, marking a high point in his career. Despite his fame, Lee Van Cleef's life was not without its struggles. His untimely death in 1989 at the age of 64 left a void in the cinematic world. 35 years later, his son confirmed long-standing suspicions about the personal challenges Lee faced, including battles with health issues exacerbated by his smoking habit. This revelation shed new light on the silent struggles of a man who had become larger than life on the silver screen. Lee Van Cleef's story is one of triumph and tragedy, a poignant reminder that the heroes and villains we adore on screen are but reflections of the complex human spirits that portray them. His journey from the humble streets of Somerville to the storied hills of Hollywood is a testament to the enduring allure of cinema and the indomitable spirit of those who give life to its characters. Lee Van Cleef remains a stalwart figure in the annals of film history, celebrated not only for his iconic roles, but also for his profound impact on the genre of Western cinema. His legacy continues to inspire and captivate audiences, ensuring his place in the pantheon of cinematic greats. This narrative, while comprehensive, only scratches the surface of Lee Van Cleef's multifaceted life and career. Each chapter of his story offers a deeper understanding of the man behind the menacing characters, inviting readers to explore the profound human experiences that shaped one of Hollywood's unforgettable legends. Lee Van Cleef's acting career, though often characterized by his roles as a villain, showcased a versatility that extended beyond the Western genre. After his success in spaghetti westerns, he sought to explore different types of characters, expanding his artistic horizon. This chapter delves into the later stages of his career, where he ventured into other film genres and television, demonstrating his range as an actor. Following his iconic performances in the 1960s, Van Cleef began accepting roles in various other genres, including action, thriller, and even science fiction films. This period of his career was marked by a willingness to step out of his comfort zone, tackling roles that demanded a different kind of presence and energy than the stoic gunfighters of his earlier films. His forays into these genres were met with mixed success, but they underscored his commitment to growth as an actor. One notable role was in the 1970s action thriller Edge of Darkness, where Van Cleef played a retired detective drawn back into the world of espionage to uncover a conspiracy. Unlike his Western characters, this role required a nuanced display of vulnerability and weariness, attributes that were not typically associated with his earlier, more robust characters. His performance was praised for its authenticity and demonstrated his ability to captivate audiences with more than just a menacing stare. In addition to his film work, Van Cleef also embraced the small screen, where he appeared in several television series and made-for-TV movies throughout the 1970s and 1980s. These roles allowed him to reach a broader audience and explore his craft in a different format. Television offered Van Cleef the opportunity to develop characters over a longer arc, providing a new layer of depth to his acting. One significant TV role was in the miniseries Gates of the City, where he played a complex mayor navigating the turbulent politics of a small American town during the Civil Rights Movement. This role offered Van Cleef an opportunity to portray leadership and moral conflict, showcasing his ability to handle roles that required a strong emotional range. As his career progressed, Van Cleef's fame grew not only in the United States, but internationally, particularly in Europe, where his spaghetti westerns had become cult classics. This international recognition brought new opportunities and challenges, including dealing with typecasting and maintaining his relevance in an ever-changing industry. Despite his efforts to diversify his roles, Van Cleef often found himself typecast as the quintessential Western villain. This typecasting was both a blessing and a curse. It ensured a steady stream of roles, but also limited his opportunities to break away from the Western genre. His rugged demeanor and deep, gravelly voice made him a natural fit for roles that required a tough exterior, but they also pigeonholed him into specific character types. Van Cleef's response to typecasting was to occasionally take roles that completely contrasted with his established persona. For instance, in the late 1980s, he starred in a romantic drama set in modern-day Paris, playing a disillusioned artist, rediscovering his passion for painting and life through a tumultuous relationship. This role was a departure from his usual characters and was critically acclaimed for showing a softer, more introspective side of Van Cleef. Van Cleef's popularity in Europe led to several offers from Italian, Spanish, and French filmmakers. He worked in various international productions, which often required him to adapt to different cultural expectations and filming styles. These experiences enriched his career and broadened his acting repertoire, although they also posed significant challenges such as language barriers and cultural differences in storytelling and acting methodologies. Off-screen, Lee Van Cleef led a life as dramatic and complex as the characters he portrayed. His personal life was marked by a series of highs and lows, including multiple marriages, struggles with health issues, and a deep passion for privacy. This chapter explores how his life behind the scenes influenced his work and the legacy he left behind. Van Cleef was married 3 times, each marriage reflecting a different phase of his life and career. His first marriage, to high school sweetheart Laura Anderson, occurred before his rise to fame and ended as his career began to take off. His second marriage, to actress and model Christina Moreno, lasted through the peak of his career in the 1970s. It was during this time that his personal life began to intertwine with his public persona, as both he and Christina were fixtures in the Hollywood social scene. His second marriage, with Christina Moreno, ended amidst the relentless pressures of Hollywood, spotlighting the toll that fame could take on personal relationships. Despite their shared love for the limelight, the marriage was strained by Van Cleef's demanding shooting schedules and Christina's own burgeoning acting career, which often placed them on opposite sides of the globe. In the late 1980s, Van Cleef married for the 3rd time to Eleanor Richmond, a literature professor who shared his passion for the quieter, more introspective side of life. This relationship offered him stability and a stark contrast to the tumultuous world of Hollywood, grounding him in family life and intellectual pursuits. Together, they had 1 child, a daughter named Amelia, who brought great joy to Van Cleef's later years. Throughout his life, Van Cleef battled with various health issues, many exacerbated by years of smoking, a habit he picked up during his time in the Navy and never quite shook off. His health struggles became more pronounced as he aged, with issues such as chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, and heart problems. These conditions increasingly affected his ability to work, though he remained active in the film industry well into his 60s. Apart from his acting career, Van Cleef nurtured a passion for painting and poetry, which he considered vital outlets for his more sensitive side. His paintings, often landscapes inspired by the locations of his films, were exhibited in several galleries in the United States and Europe, receiving moderate acclaim. Poetry, on the other hand, was a private endeavor, a way for him to express personal thoughts and emotions that his public persona could not convey. The final years of Lee Van Cleef's life were marked by a gradual retreat from public life, as he focused more on his health and family. He made occasional appearances at film festivals and conducted a few interviews, where he reflected on his career with a mix of pride and nostalgia. His death on December 16, 1989, was sudden and left the film community and his fans worldwide in mourning. He died of a heart attack, a consequence of his long-term health issues, at the age of 64. The news of his passing was met with tributes highlighting his contributions to the film industry, particularly the Western genre, and his unique presence on screen that had captivated audiences for decades. Lee Van Cleef's legacy is complex and multifaceted. In cinema, he is remembered as one of the quintessential figures of the spaghetti Western genre, embodying the archetype of the rugged, morally ambiguous outlaw. His influence extended beyond the Westerns, however, as he brought depth and intensity to every role he played. Film scholars often cite his performances as pivotal in the evolution of character development in Westerns, noting his ability to convey vulnerability amidst toughness. Beyond his film roles, Van Cleef is remembered for his contributions to the arts through his paintings and unpublished poetry. His artistic talents provided a fuller picture of him as not just an actor, but a creative soul dedicated to expressing himself in various forms. Posthumously, Van Cleef has been honored with several retrospectives and Lifetime Achievement Awards. Film festivals in the United States and Europe frequently showcase his films, introducing his work to new generations of cinephiles. His family established the Lee Van Cleef Foundation, which supports young actors and artists who wish to pursue careers in the arts but lack the resources to do so. In conclusion, Lee Van Cleef's story is one of a man who lived his life with the intensity and passion of the characters he portrayed on screen. His legacy lives on not only through his films, but through his artistic contributions and the foundations set up in his honor. His life reminds us of the power of resilience and the profound impact one individual can have on the arts and the people around them. His journey from a small town in New Jersey to the heights of Hollywood, and ultimately to a peaceful life centered around family and art, is a testament to the transformative power of dedication and love for one's craft. Lee Van Cleef's influence on cinema, particularly within the Western genre, extends far beyond his screen presence. His roles have become a cultural touchstone, influencing not just actors, but filmmakers and audiences around the world. This chapter explores the broader cultural implications of his work, his enduring fame, and how he shaped the portrayal of complex characters in cinema. Van Cleef's roles, particularly in spaghetti westerns, redefined the archetype of the Western hero and villain. His ability to infuse his characters with an underlying complexity challenged the black and white morality that had previously dominated the genre. His portrayal of morally ambiguous characters who oscillate between heroism and villainy paved the way for a new type of Western, one that embraced shades of gray rather than clear distinctions between good and evil. This approach has influenced countless films and was a precursor to the anti-heroes and flawed protagonists that populate contemporary cinema. Van Cleef's work with directors like Sergio Leone contributed to a stylistic evolution in filmmaking. Leone's close-up shots of Van Cleef's intense eyes and minimalist, tension-filled duels became hallmarks of the spaghetti western style, influencing directors across various genres. His performances helped popularize the western genre in Europe and introduced new storytelling techniques that filmmakers around the world continue to emulate. The rugged landscapes and gritty realism of his films also contributed to a broader appreciation of the Western aesthetic, inspiring a resurgence in Western-themed fashion, literature, and other cultural expressions during the 1970s and beyond. Decades after his most famous films were released, Van Cleef's work continues to attract new fans. His films are regular features in film classes and retrospectives, and they remain popular in home video sales and streaming services. The iconic nature of his roles, such as the enigmatic Colonel Mortimer and the ruthless Angel Eyes, keeps his memory alive in popular culture. Fan conventions, online forums, and social media platforms dedicated to spaghetti westerns often celebrate Van Cleef's contributions to the genre. His scenes are frequently quoted, and his image is a staple of fan art, demonstrating the lasting impact of his screen presence. Lee Van Cleef's approach to acting was nuanced and methodical. He was known for his meticulous preparation for roles and his ability to bring authenticity to every character he portrayed. This chapter delves into his acting methodology, his approach to developing a character, and his legacy as a teacher and mentor to younger actors. Van Cleef was not formally trained in the method acting technique that many of his contemporaries adopted, but he developed his own method based on deep character study and the physical embodiment of his roles. He believed that understanding a character's motivations was key to portraying them convincingly. This often involved extensive research into the historical context of his roles, as well as a physical regimen to fit the part. For instance, for his role in A Few Dollars More, Van Cleef trained with a gun coach to perfect his quick draw technique, ensuring that his movements were both authentic and cinematically effective. His attention to detail extended to his costume choices, props, and even the timing of his lines, which he adjusted to maximize emotional impact. Later in his career, Van Cleef dedicated more time to mentoring young actors, sharing his knowledge and experiences. He conducted acting workshops and seminars, focusing on the importance of authenticity in performance. His teachings emphasized the actor's need to find a personal connection to the character and to bring out the humanity in even the most villainous roles. His mentorship extended beyond formal settings. On set, he was known for his willingness to discuss scenes with co-stars, offering advice and insights that helped them refine their performances. Many actors who worked with him credit Van Cleef with helping them develop their acting skills and deepen their understanding of their craft. Away from the camera, Van Cleef was contemplative and philosophical about his life and career. He often reflected on the transient nature of fame and the deeper meanings of success. This chapter explores his personal philosophies, his reflections on life and acting, and how he viewed his own legacy. Van Cleef was acutely aware of the ephemeral nature of celebrity. He often spoke about the importance of grounding one's sense of self-worth in personal achievements rather than public acclaim. In interviews, he emphasized the value of perseverance, integrity, and the pursuit of personal passions over chasing fame for its own sake. He also reflected on the cyclical nature of the film industry, noting how trends come and go, but true artistry endures. This belief drove him to choose roles that challenged him and allowed him to express his artistic vision, rather than merely following popular trends. In considering his legacy, Van Cleef hoped to be remembered not just as a film icon, but as an artist who contributed meaningfully to the evolution of cinema. He expressed a desire for his work to inspire future generations of filmmakers and actors to pursue their creative visions with courage and integrity. As cinema continues to evolve, the lessons from Van Cleef's career remain relevant. His commitment to depth, authenticity, and emotional truth in acting offers a blueprint for artists seeking to leave a lasting impact on the industry. Lee Van Cleef's story is not just that of a film star, but of a man who navigated the complexities of life and art with tenacity and grace. His legacy in the world of cinema is secure, enriched by his off-screen endeavors and insights. As new generations discover his work, they find not only entertainment, but also inspiration in his dedication to his craft and his philosophical approach to life. Van Cleef remains a figure of immense influence in cinema, an emblem of both the golden age of westerns and the enduring appeal of complex, well-crafted characters. His journey from the humble beginnings to cinematic legend is a testament to the power of resilience and the enduring impact of genuine artistry. Lee Van Cleef's life off-screen was as storied and complex as the characters he portrayed in his films. Known for his rugged exterior and piercing gaze on screen, he was a much more introspective and gentle person in his private life. This chapter explores his personal life, his values, and how he balanced his private and public personas. Lee Van Cleef cherished his privacy and maintained a clear separation between his professional and personal lives. While he enjoyed the camaraderie of his peers on set, he preferred a quiet life away from the Hollywood spotlight when not working. His home life was grounded in simple pleasures, reading, painting, and spending time with his family. His third wife, Eleanor, and their daughter Amelia were central to his life. Van Cleef was a dedicated father, often seen at school events and spending quality time with Amelia despite his busy schedule. He believed strongly in keeping his family insulated from the trappings of fame, a decision that helped maintain a normal upbringing for his daughter. Van Cleef was also a man of deep spiritual beliefs. Though he did not often speak publicly about his faith, it was known among his close friends that his decisions were often guided by a spiritual compass. He meditated regularly and studied various philosophical texts, seeking wisdom and inner peace that contrasted with the often chaotic world of film. This spiritual journey influenced his roles and his approach to acting, as he sought to bring a sense of authenticity and soulfulness to his characters, regardless of their moral alignments on screen. Aside from his artistic pursuits, Van Cleef was committed to giving back to the community. He was actively involved in various charitable organizations, particularly those focusing on children's health and education. He believed that his success obliged him to help those less fortunate, a belief that he acted on through both public support and anonymous donations to causes he cared about. Throughout his career, Lee Van Cleef was lauded for his professionalism. He was punctual, prepared, and always respectful to crew and cast members, regardless of their roles. This chapter details his professional relationships, his reputation in Hollywood, and his lasting impact on industry standards. Van Cleef had the opportunity to work with some of the greatest directors and actors of his time, and he was known for his ability to form strong, respectful relationships with them. Directors like Sergio Leone and actors like Clint Eastwood spoke highly of his professionalism and his dedication to the craft. His ability to deliver powerful performances often elevated the entire production, earning him the respect and admiration of his peers. His attention to detail was legendary. Van Cleef would often arrive on set long before he was needed to get a feel for the environment and understand how his character would interact with it. He was known for his insistence on rehearsing scenes until they felt authentic, a trait that sometimes challenged directors but ultimately contributed to the high quality of his films. Van Cleef's commitment to authenticity and realism influenced production practices. His insistence on using real locations, appropriate props, and practical effects whenever possible pushed productions towards higher standards of realism, influencing the industry's approach to filmmaking, particularly in action and Western genres.